Okay, good afternoon. My name's Rory. Thank you for joining me today. I will just begin by sharing my screen here. Okay, so I guess again, welcome to my Zoom presentation. Thank you for being with us here today. My name is Rory O'Brien. This is the media tool presentation for assignment 1 of PIDP 3240. I've included my Creative Commons license there at the bottom. The topic I'm going to be covering today is Microsoft Clipchamp and its place in the world of video editing software. I'm also going to be talking about how we use video as a tool for learning in the classroom and outside of the classroom. That'll be the first part of my presentation. The second part of the presentation, I'll go into what Clipchamp actually is and just some of the key features that you'll be able to find in that program, and it might offer you a point of comparison to other video editing software platforms that you might be using. So the first question that we kind of need to ask here is, how do we use video in learning? How does it excite the students that we're using it with? How can video be used to educate these students? Most importantly, how does it engage our students in the learning process? And lastly, how as an instructor or facilitator of a course can we use video to evaluate our students? Okay, so let's start off with excite. So we excite our students using video in the classroom or from a remote location because it combines audio, slides, and lecture. So instead of a student being in the classroom, simply either looking at an instructor delivering a lecture in where they're going to be receiving visual kind of cues and maybe a slideshow presentation, as well as the audio from that lecture. The student is going to be able to get all three of those elements all in one in a video, which can be rewatched over and over again as many times as they would like. Students are also actually quite excited by videos as a learning tool because it makes it much more personal for them, as opposed to being told at the end of the day or as part of an assignment to read this chapter in a book. They read that chapter, it's not that exciting for them. Whereas with a video, it's way more personal. They hear the tone of the voice of the instructor. They can see facial expressions if the instructor's included a small talking head video in their presentation, and which overall leads to the student having a much more human experience for maybe something that wouldn't have felt very human at all. Students are also excited by using video because it fosters authentic learning. So it offers a one-on-one experience for that student, even though they're not working directly physically with that instructor, but they feel like they're being given a one-on-one lesson. This encourages a student-teacher dynamic. So if a student is going to school, they're meeting with their professor or instructor, and then going home, watching a video about whatever the topic is the video is on, the student is then given more of an expansion on their relationship with the teacher. And when they go back to school the next day, they feel like they've had that one-on-one instructional time at home. This is also true for courses which are completely asynchronous. So the student may never actually physically meet the teacher, but they do feel through a series of videos that they are actually gaining more of a relationship with that teacher, and that can be very beneficial for a student's success. So how do we use video in the classroom to educate? So the Giving Compass says that after watching a video, a student can retain that information from it for up to 4 months. Whereas we compare that to when we're reading a book, reading a text, sometimes we aren't even retaining that information to the end of our reading. Also, the Giving Compass states that 1 minute of video is the equivalent of 1.8 million written words. Sometimes in the classroom, an instructor could be giving a lecture, reading straight off of a text, and they could, say 1,000 words, whereas that they could have provided one 30-second clip, and it would have summarized much better and much clearer what they were trying to convey. This is a big one. So using video is a way that instructors can actually lessen the burden on what they have to deliver in class and use video beforehand as a tool to kind of preview their lesson, which gives more time in class for the instructors to follow up with more active learning. Okay, so you're going through your lesson, and instead of talking and reading your text or reading the information out, the students are already coming in with a version of what you want them to know, which you've put into a video. And now you're able to expand on that in the classroom in a much more engaging manner. The other thing with these video lessons is that they can be edited. So as your course changes, as you feel certain pieces of information are more or less pertinent, those can be removed or added. University of Waterloo says that using videos in your lectures or as part of your curriculum creates a much more inclusive environment for all students. So you could use subtitles as a way of encouraging students whose language isn't the language which your presentation is spoken in. They can now have that translation there for them to further educate themselves on what the topic is. Closed captioning is also another very inclusive option, which all video editing software is going to include. For students who find that an in-person or in typical lecture format is way too fast-paced for them, having video lectures or video lessons is a great way for them to go home or be at home, watch that video and pause at certain points so that they can actually catch up and retain the material that they're needing to. The other thing with that is if they get to the end, even with the pauses and the breaks, they feel like they still didn't retain it. In a classroom setting, if that's the case, the student will then have to go to the teacher, ask for more clarity, ask for more instruction. Whereas with a video lecture, all the information they need to know is there. And if they need to be refreshed on it, they can start back at the beginning. If they get to the end, multiple views, multiple times, and they're still not comfortable or familiar with what they need to be, then they can reach out to the teacher with reference to points in the video that they did not understand. Okay, so how does it engage? Using video as a tool for learning in the classroom or at home creates connection. So like I mentioned before, it simulates an in-person lecture. So the face of the speaker, like now, is shown, and they guide you through a very formal step-by-step process of what they want you to learn. Like I also mentioned before, the engagement comes because the student is seeing the facial animations of their instructor on their screen, and they're linking it to the pieces of information that they're being taught. Using video also fosters deeper learning. So it engages students because they're watching a video, they feel more connected, they feel more interested. It's going to increase their motivation to learn about the topic that they're being shown. Using videos also helps facilitate discussions. So instead of the students watching a lecture or listening to a lecture in person, they're not wanting to interrupt, they're not wanting to speak to their classmates during class. But after they've watched a video, or if they're watching a video together, they can actually pause it, discuss without interrupting or distracting from a lecture. It also helps students identify problems, whether that's with their own learning. They hear something and they say, I don't understand that. They can go back, research with their textbook, or reach out to the instructor. It can also be used as a tool for creating more challenging questions. student watches a video and there's a much more foreign concept to them, the video is going to be able to explain that much better, and they can now identify deeper, more challenging answers. And this is something that was brought up by Clarkson. So finally, how do we use video in the classroom to evaluate? The biggest thing is going to be with feedback. So whether that comes in the form of an instructor video as some sort of instruction for a project or as a follow-up to the project, it's going to be something that the students are going to often see instead of just a written out, hey, great job on this project, maybe you could improve here. Instead of just reading that, it feels very informal, or maybe too formal, actually, sorry. Now they're going to get a video of the instructor. They're going to be able to see their expressions. They're going to be able to actually listen and take in what the instructor is saying as if they were with them in person, giving feedback. This is much easier and much less time consuming than doing that in person every time. But the students are still going to get that very personal feedback for their work. Again, it could also be used as a way for the instructor just to send a short message out to the class as well, which is something that we see a lot in the PIDP, which can be very effective. During testing, using video is also another way to really get students' minds and imaginations wrapped around a topic that might have been very challenging or difficult for them during the learning process. So in a test, you might provide a small short video example, and instead of writing out what could have been what the video is talking about or showing, having something like that as a very complex idea in a video is actually going to give the students an opportunity to recall those more complex ideas. Again, in the classroom, we could use this showing a more complex idea or topic on a presentation or as something they get sent on their learning platforms. And the students are going to be able to perform more critical thinking exercises with that video, as opposed to the other alternative, which be just reading something out of a textbook and then working on an answer or solution. Okay, so what is Microsoft Clipchamp? This is the icon here that you'll see. It's part of the Microsoft Office suite. This is the icon. It's called Clipchamp. And when you open up your main page from that icon, this is what you'll see. You'll hit create new project, and this is your basic main page. Let me just pull up a laser pointer here. So when you start out, you have your different options here. So you go into your media, which I'll go into a second. You can go record and create. You can record directly off your webcam right into Clipchamp if you're wanting to do some talking head video or a video of something around you. You can go into your content library. That's going to have everything that's on your computer, as well as free kind of templates and samples from Clipchamp itself. Again, we have templates for whole videos here. Text, you add transitions, and brand kit. So if your company has a brand kit that's already loaded up into Clipchamp, it can be used there. We have closed captioning, as again can be done. You record your whole video, audio, and that can be closed captioned right here. We have audio as well, which provides just clean samples of whatever kind of background music you would like in your video. And the rest here is just basic video editing features. So we have fades, filters, different effects, color adjustment. You can adjust your speed of each video. And again, with transitions here and different color palettes. Okay. The main three pieces as you're building and editing your video is going to be your media, this area down here, which is where all of your content goes. So whether that's pictures, GIFs, audio, or just backgrounds or text, that's where this all goes and gets stacked up. I will show at the end how that all comes together. The other piece is the audio. So you can record a video and then take the audio out of that, or you can just have your standard audio or music playing in the background. So first thing you're going to do is import media. You can either drag and drop right from your desktop right to here, or you can go browse files. And if you've recorded off of a phone, you can just have those files right in your folders where you've shared them. Or if you have other videos you want from the internet, those can be on your desktop or in your OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, and Xbox. If you don't want to actually have video, if you just want this to be a picture and text presentation or a video, you go here and you click add text, and this is what it's going to bring up. And this is the same for any type of thing you're trying to add to the video. You add your text, goes down at the bottom, and you can edit it in this corner here. And then it'll display here, and you can decide how long or short you want that to be. This is how it looks at the very end. So you've imported all this media, GIFs, some pictures, and then you would also have these. This is what I did. I had some talking head videos, and you can just space those out, divide them however you want, put these transitions in here. And throughout my whole presentation, I had this purple background. Okay. Once you're done all that, any video from Clipchamp can be uploaded to OneDrive Cloud. You can also upload directly to YouTube as well. With the regular version, you can go up to 1080p for your video quality. With the premium version, you can go up to 4K. So how do we get to the premium version? This pay nothing version here is included as part of any Microsoft 365 subscription. The premium, which isn't available yet as an official subscription, but it would be $13 a month. Okay, so just some questions for thought. Do you make videos to use in your class? And if so, what video editing software do you use? All right, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have learned something about video editing and Microsoft Clipchamp.